Celebrating St. Patrick's Day with a classic Irish-American corned beef and cabbage made with Guinness along with a traditional Irish soda bread right now on Cooking with Friends.
Start with the brisket by breaking out one crock pot, a cutting board, and measuring cup. For the brisket, we are going to use a 2.5 pound first cut uncured beef, also known as a flat cut, which is leaner with less fat and is great for leftovers to make a delicious Reuben sandwich and features a more consistent thickness. Start by pat drying your brisket and placing it fat side up in the pot. Here's a good rule of thumb to go by. Briskets cooked in liquid should be fat side up, and those cooked directly in the heat source should be fat side down. Now add your seasoning packet that came with the brisket. Most briskets come with seasoning. Don't worry if it doesn't. You can easily make your own spice mix. I'll put a link to one in the description below. Add 2 garlic cloves. I minced mine to really pull out the garlic flavor. And now add 1/4 cup of brown sugar and spread it out evenly over the top of the brisket. Wash and peel 4 or more carrots. I used 4 long stem carrots and cut them into 2 inches, or you can use baby carrots or any carrot of your choosing. Wash 6 or 8 Yukon Gold potatoes and place them whole and unpeeled in the pot around the edge. Select ones that are smaller and similar in size for consistent cooking throughout. So now the secret sauce. Pop open a 12-ounce bottle or can of Guinness Extra Stout and generously pour it over all of your ingredients. Top off with 2 bay leaves, plug in your crock pot, and set to cook for 8 hours on low. We will come back and add the cabbage when there is about 2 hours remaining. This will give the cabbage a crispier taste and make it less soggy of a texture when it's done. Now onto the Irish soda bread. Use a non-stick spray on a cookie sheet or baking tray and preheat the oven to 425 degrees. Then break out a cutting board or prepare a clean surface, a mixing bowl, scraper, measuring cups and measuring spoons, and a wire rack. In a bowl, mix your dry ingredients with the butter by adding 1 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 3/4 cups of whole wheat flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 2 tablespoons of butter. Mix them all well together. No yeast is needed because the chemical reaction between the baking soda and the buttermilk in this recipe produces carbon dioxide, which causes the dough to rise. The dry ingredients are well mixed. In a separate bowl, whisk together 1 2/3 cups of buttermilk and 1 egg. If you don't have store-bought buttermilk, there are other ways of making it. I'll leave those steps in the description below. Then form a well in the center of the flour and begin to pour in your liquid. Reserve some of your liquid for later to brush on top of the bread. Begin to slowly bring the liquid and flour together, forming a dough. I know, I sped the video up for time, but I assure you, I am slowly mixing it together. Mix just long enough to pull in the flour and liquid all together. If the texture is still too dry, you could add some liquid in from your reserve. Now flour a clean surface and begin to knead your dough, but make sure you use all your flour mixture in the bowl. As you can see, I'm cleaning out the bowl by rolling the dough around in the flour to get the remaining flour into the dough. My friend Jack showed me how to knead the dough by using the palm over hand method, pushing down with your palm and with the other hand flipping it over. I think I did it well enough, and I hope he is very proud of me. Don't work it too hard, but give it a shape of a round bread dough. Certainly, I like the fact that a little bit out of shape gives it a little bit of character. In the 19th century, it was believed that a cross slashed atop bread let the devil out while the bread was baking. It was also believed that the symbolism can be interpreted as blessing the bread and giving thanks. For other reasons, it also allows the bread to expand. Whatever your reasons, make 2 cuts into the top of the dough and allow for expansion. Make your way to the oven and place it on the middle rack and cook for 15 minutes at 425 degrees. And while that is cooking, add about 1 or 2 tablespoons of honey to your reserved buttermilk and whisk well together. And after 10 minutes, reduce the oven temperature to 400 degrees, remove the bread, and brush on your honey-flavored buttermilk over the top of the bread, and return it back to the oven for another 25 to 30 minutes. And somewhere between brushing on the buttermilk on the top of the bread and checking to see if it's done, I lost my hat. Well, now remove it from the oven after 25 minutes and check to see if it's done by sticking in a toothpick. If the toothpick comes out dry, it is done. Another way to check is to turn the bread over and tap on the bottom. You should hear a hollow sound that sounds just like that. Once done, place on a wire rack to cool. At about the 6-hour mark, cut your washed cabbage in half and then cut it into quarters. Place them in the crock pot. I may have cut mine too thick, as I did return later to break them down more and push them lower into the liquids. You can prevent that by cutting them into smaller chunks or slices ahead of time. Now, after 8 hours, first slice your bread. I will say this bread was delicious. It had the texture and taste of a banana bread, which I absolutely loved. I do plan on duplicating this recipe and adding bananas to them next time and making a banana bread out of it. Remove your brisket, vegetables, and juices from the pot. Plate your food and serve yourself a delicious, flavorful Guinness corned beef and cabbage, along with an amazing tasting Irish soda bread. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe to support the channel. Have you made either of these and would like to share your secret recipe with us? Please do so in the comments below. We would love to hear from you. Thanks for watching.